To Live United. Live United, where we're really learning about the things that are happening here in the Monadnock region that make a difference in people's lives. Today, I'm joined by Peg Monahan. Peg is the Executive Director of the Keene Senior Center, a population that is so important here in the Monadnock region. As we've talked about in the past, we know that New Hampshire has an aging population, and services like the Keene Senior Center are critical to the future of those citizens who are still contributing, regardless of their age, here in the Monadnock region. So, Peg, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
It's nice to have you here. You know, I let in with that we have an aging population here in New Hampshire.
Right.
We know that. And the Keene Senior Center fulfills a critical role here in the Monadnock region, really meeting the health and recreational and well-being of really our citizens who've contributed for a long time here.
Right.
So tell us a little bit about what's happening over at the Keene Senior Center right now.
Well, probably the thing that's most important is the place is really hopping. I mean, really hopping. We have full programming. I'm running out of space to put different groups, and our parking lot is nearly always full every day. So it seems almost out of control sometimes, and people are having a whole lot of fun. Just for an example, we did a holiday fair last Saturday. We had almost 2,000 baked goods donated for just the bake table.
Wow.
It was 1,922. I had somebody count them. I added it up this morning. I mean, just 1,000 in cookies alone. Of course, we didn't sell them all. I have a whole refrigerator full of cookies to sell this week. And some of them will go to the community kitchen also, because we're just not going to be able to get rid of all those cookies. But there seems to be more people involved than ever before. Our membership is up significantly. I suspect we're going to hit 500 this year.
Wow.
And that's a 25% increase over last year. So we're really doing, we're reaching a lot more people, and the people that are members are doing a lot more activities.
So let's talk a little bit about that, because I heard you mention that there's a lot of groups happening there and that you're running out of space because of those types of groups. What are some of the activities people are engaging in?
Well, as always, our most popular activities involve fitness and health. We have 3 yoga groups that meet. There are 2 groups called AIM 1 and AIM 2, which are leader-led exercise groups. There's a program at the rec center that has that meets every, I don't want to say it's every day, but very often during the week. Every day we have walking at the rec center. We have another walking group that happens during the week, and of course we had a significant number of participants that did the DeMar Marathon for seniors over 70. And so that fitness piece, and we have a gym. We have a gym downstairs with a whole lot of equipment. I think we have 4 treadmills and a bunch of other equipment, plus a ping pong table and a pool table. And so that fitness piece is really important, and it's important for seniors. It's those that are participating really know how important it is to keep moving.
You know, it makes sense when you think about all the work that's going on here in the Monadnock region about health and wellness and fitness, that the senior population is become a strong part of that, and that the Keene Senior Center is offering that kind of service is just fabulous, that those are some of the groups that are happening there. Now, you mentioned yoga. It sounds like you've got a weight room, a fitness type of room.
Yeah.
If somebody wanted to become part of that, how do they become part of the Keene Senior Center?
Well, they need to be 50 or older. And there's a larger population of Keene that are in Keene and in the Monadnock region that are 50 and older than there ever was. But they need to be 50 and older. An individual membership is $40 a year, and a couple's membership is $60 a year. So there's ways of joining by being a volunteer for 50 hours, and you become a member. Or if you are or you can pay as you go and pay $3 at a time and bill to that $40 or $60 or whatever membership you're looking for. So there's a lot of opportunities to be able to afford to do this. On the fitness piece, there's a new group that, well, I would say it's a new group. It's the spin-off from the Senior DeMar group. Jean Hoffman and Sally Reinhardt Boys and Molly Lane and I were the committee that worked on the Senior DeMar. And we've since branched out and have included George Scott as our chair and Dr. Bob England as a member to find ways we can send the message out through the Senior Center and the Keene YMCA, to get more seniors involved in a big variety of activity. And we're looking at variety. I mean, we're looking at everything from downhill skiing to ping pong. And right now we're really in the forming stage. George is a leader, is really terrific. He's making us do a mission statement right off, you know, all of that kind of stuff. But that kind of activity, you know, to create energy about a particular project really takes a lot of publicity, a lot of people involved, and that's where we're at now. We're just really kind of starting. But it's exciting. It's really a lot of fun. And the people that are involved are big thinkers. You know, they're thinking generously and find ways of getting so many people involved.
So that's really growing, expanding, but you have other things that happen there.
Right.
And it's very accessible. You talked about, you know, people can pay over time, people can work to pay for their membership. And honestly, a gym membership is going to cost more than a membership to the Keene Senior Center, and having access to all the different types of services. So what are some of the other things that are happening there? Well,
one of the things that we're doing is that we have a financial education program that's starting out in January. And that was we're able to do this through a grant from the United Way. They received money from a bank, and so we applied for the money and received it. We're most grateful for that. And we have 6 sessions that are starting in January that are going to run every other week until, well, into the spring. And they are going to be on everything from budgeting to resolving serious credit card issues. If you have a large credit card bill and you need to resolve it. There's issues about, you know, what to do when your house or your apartment is just too much to handle. I mean, that's the whole business of going from house to something less is a big, big piece of the whole aging process, because we don't need to have those big houses anymore. My husband and I have 2 extra bedrooms, you know, and it's great to have a place for company, but, you know, we really don't need all that house. We're not moving, though. We won't tell you that right now. But the thing is that, you know, a lot of people are facing those same issues. You know, the issues around, you know, who's going to snow blow the driveway? Who's going to take care of the leaves? I need to have a roof repaired. So all of those are big issues for seniors, and they're financial issues. There's a lot to it. And some of the classes are simple, like budgeting. You think they're simple, but, you know, for a lot of people, they don't have a way of getting a real good handle around that. and some of the issues are even more serious as to what happens if there's just not enough money, no matter what, and what's available. I mean, how do you get regular groceries, or groceries on a regular basis, through the community kitchen? And it is definitely available. They serve over 500 residents that way. But, you know, how do you get there? How do you start? What do you do? What's SNAP all about? You know, all of those things, all those financial pieces are really important.
So really an incredible opportunity for anybody 50 and over to, those seminars are free. In fact, I think you're offering incentives for people to even come to those.
We are.
So if you have concerns about whether you can afford to be there, they are free sessions. And I believe you're providing, are you providing gas cards?
No, we're providing grocery store cards.
So grocery store cards
$25
as an incentive to be at those. And we all know that a lot of folks struggle in these economic times.
Right.
So a great opportunity to get some education, some support around issues you may be facing, whether it's around home ownership or rentals, how to access other services in the community that can support you, fuel assistance, food assistance, all of those things. And at the same time, learn how maybe you could manage your budget a little bit differently. Credit counseling, it sounds like. What an incredible series you're providing starting in January. How would people reach out to you if they were interested in participating in your fitness programs, in this financial literacy and stability program?
Well, probably the easiest way is to call us. Okay. We're at 352-5037. That's the easiest way to reach us. And we're also online at www.thekeeneseniorcenter.org. So we have a Facebook page, so you can go in and find out what's going on at the Facebook page. But those three ways are probably the easiest way to reach us. Or you stop in. We have a lot of people who just simply stop in.
And where are you located, Peg?
We're at 70 Court Street. We're just past Summer Street. Our neighbors are, on one side is John Burke Accountants. On the other side of us is Bragdon Bragdon Attorneys and Insurance Source. So we're right there, easy access on Court Street.
And if people were just curious about the Keene Senior Center and the offerings there, can they just stop by, visit, see perhaps the Romeos, which is your singing group, or one of these other activities going on? Because I believe you also have trips that you do.
We do trips, yes.
You have lots of different things happening there. They go beyond the fitness, beyond the financial literacy, are recreational and social. And we know that that social aspect is incredibly important for our aging population.
It is.
Continue to be involved.
It is. It's probably the most important thing. It truly is. Our singing group is not the Romeos, it's the Swingers, which is even more interesting than the Romeos. Romeos are retired old men eating out. Yeah, and there's a few of those around, I'm sure. But but we're the Keene Senior Swingers Singers.
Okay.
I don't say that too quickly.
Tongue twister.
And they meet on Wednesday afternoons, and they have a concert in the fall where they raise money for the senior center, and they also do concerts at nursing homes, and they go to Tilton and do a concert at the Veterans Home in Tilton, and that's also supported with some help from the Elks. There's a lot of community spirit among the seniors, and they do a lot of different things.
Now, do you provide meals as part of programming there?
Yeah, we do. We're a site for HCS on Wednesdays. They come in and serve a lunch to folks that are there. And we also started this past summer doing something called Garden Fresh Friday. And this is a really nice collaboration with the Keene Community Kitchen, who provide the food, the Antioch's community garden program that grow the food, and the Keene State College's nutrition program, because it's the nutrition students that prepare and serve the food. It's absolutely wonderful. I mean, it's top-notch. It's beautiful food, and we've had a really nice turnout for Friday noontime meals. And our students that finished up, because students do finish up after the end of a semester, are being replaced by a couple of other interns. So it's going to be continuing, and I'm really pleased that we're doing this program. They also do a little nutrition lesson in it, just because that's what they're supposed to be doing. But it's really worthwhile.
I was just going to say that that collaboration, number one, is just a wonderful thing. And I think, you know, the Monadnock region, there's a lot of efforts around collaboration, and a great example of the community kitchen, Keene Senior Center, Antioch University, the gardening programs in the region coming together. At the same time, and Keene State College, of course, that nutritional piece, so important because and we all know I'm aging. You know, your diet changes, your ability to handle certain foods changes, and so it's really important to have that kind of educational piece in there as well.
It really is. One of the big health issues with seniors is nutrition, and it becomes a health issue because so many fixed food for their families for years. Whether they're male or female, they participated in the kitchen, they were there at the dinner table every night, and now so many are alone. And fixing food for one doesn't have the same kind of charm as fixing food for six or four. So that kind of, so nutrition starts to slide. All of a sudden, supper becomes ice cream. Even my mother did that. I mean, she was always so health conscious, but all of a sudden she told me she was eating ice cream for dinner, and it was like craziness. But she was lonely. She didn't want to just sit and eat by herself. So that's a big focus of the nutrition program. I mean, we give out recipes, you know, for cooking things for one. I mean, no cookbook puts out recipes for one. You know, it's got to be a real specialized cookbook that will do that. So it's, you know, so all of that kind of information is really good. And introducing people to new foods, like quinoa. Quinoa is a wonderfully highly nutritious grain, and it's full of protein, and but it's not necessarily something that people would have grown up, would have raised their families on.
It's sort of like couscous and some of those other grains that we're finding a lot of value in, very nutritional. But at the same time, people just aren't as familiar with it. So they're being exposed to
my mother did instant white rice. You know?
So people are being exposed to some new things. How can people support the Keene Senior Center and all the great work that's going on there?
Well, we have, we just did a holiday fair. With our 2,000 cookies, and we did, and we do an appeal out in the community, and we do raffles, that kind of thing. Other businesses in town who support seniors in their business lives participate in a fair that we do in June. Which encourages representatives from Keene State College Call Program, the insurance companies that are experts in Medicare, Medicaid, the people that provide direct care services in homes, HCS, they all participate in this fair. And it's a way that we can serve a lot of people and have them come and see what we have to do. Probably the most important thing about the finances of the senior center is that so much of our income is through the entrepreneurial efforts over the years. There's a thrift store. It's a lovely thrift store. It really makes a big difference in our income. There are 2 apartments over the thrift store, or over the senior center. Now, those apartments were renovated years ago by other directors, and they are kept up and rented out, and they're a really important source of income for us. And those, you know, the entrepreneurial efforts of doing dinners and inviting people to come to the dinners. I will have to say that over the years and through the directors, the Henrietta Kernizicki and the Dolly Ash and Chris Callahan, they made a big difference because they really pictured the senior center as wanting to be self-supporting. They didn't want to be on the dole all the time. They wanted to be, and that's so much of that generation, but they wanted to be, to take care of themselves. And they're doing it. I mean, they're doing it in so many ways. The United Way is still the most important fund, you know, source of funds that we have, and it's absolutely critical for us.
Mm-hmm. So you have recreational, you have social, you have educational programming going on. Is there anything else you want our audience to really know about the Keene Center? A message that you want to make sure they hear today?
Probably the most important thing that we look at is, I'm going to say 2 things. First of all, the Senior Center exists to help stave off the illnesses and depression that happen because of isolation. Isolation is an evil thing. People are sitting in their apartments, looking at television, and not, present company accepted, looking at television and not really having a plan for their life, not having a purpose for their lives. We know that having a purpose makes a big difference. People with purpose will get themselves down for mammograms, will do the colonoscomies, will do the flu shots, all the things that are important for preventative care. And people that live with purpose have a much healthier existence. And it doesn't matter what age they are. It's having that purpose is really, really important. So I want to get that message across. The other message is that it's very easy to lump people together, like saying everybody's a teenager. You know, when they're between 13 and 19, every teenager is exactly the same. Well, we know that's not true. You know, there's a lot of difference between a 13-year-old and a 19-year-old. Well, there's a lot of difference between the 50-year-old and the 90-year-old. There's a lot of 90-year-olds at the senior center. They get themselves there with their own vehicle. You know, they're not, they're there for a purpose. The Swingers piano player is 90 years old. He's been the piano player for the Swingers group for 40 years. He's getting there on his own steam. So, you know, all of those, you know, so to be very careful that people like me who are still working and over 65 versus people that are 90 and still very active. There's a big range of abilities and diversity and interests among seniors, and to be very careful about not lumping them all together.
I think that's a really important message. My former neighbor, she's just relocated, but 90 years old, still active nursing in the schools for years, teaching nursing courses, right up till the time she's just relocated. I talked to her last night. She's working for hospice. She's in her new location. She's working at the food pantry in her new location. She gets herself to these locations. So I think, you know, people can have a range of lifestyles, and we do see a generation that's working longer now.
Absolutely.
So, you know, people are working into their 70s. They're
Yes.
working, you know, she's a great example. She continued to work right up to 90 years old and continuing to work.
Right.
And, you know, she's passionate about that. And I think, you know, you talked about, you know, having that sort of that gumption. My mom used to use the word gumption, that energy and wanting to do those things. And that's an important part of being part of the community. It's part of how people give and how to, you know, they want to improve their wealth, their health rather, and their well-being is by being really active.
Yeah.
And we're seeing a generation that can be more and more active.
Well, yeah, we're healthier. We're healthier. Oftentimes, there are more financial resources. Actually, there was an AARP article about ageism a little while ago, and it was about the fact that you'll see television ads where all of the participants, all of the models in the ads, are young people. There very seldom do you see an old person using a Swiffer or an old person buying a car. But the reality is that over 65 is the largest age group of people who buy new cars.
Right, and very true, very true.
Yeah, we spend over $100 a week at the grocery store, every single week. I mean, that's a pretty significant part of our population. We're paying taxes, a lot of taxes, you know. So it's a group of people that's still active, still involved, and a really important part of our lives.
So I think it's really important to think about the advocacy that goes on for our senior population. And people can be active in that. You know, people can be active at a local level by participating at the senior center, really talking about the needs of our citizens here in the Monadnock region. I know there's a lot of activity at the state level and at the national level around this, whether it's AARP or other organizations taking that on. But an important part, and you know, what I hear you saying is this is open to anybody over 50.
It is.
That you can access this, that if you can't afford it, you'll work with them to be able to access these different programs and services going on there, or they can pay over time. It's a fee of what, $40, I believe?
$40 a year.
$40 a year. And the only criteria is you have to be over 50. And do they have to be a Keene citizen?
No, no, it's a Monadnock region program.
So anywhere in the Monadnock region?
Yeah, and we're about 60% Keene residents and about 40% coming from the region, which is pretty average for a social service agency based in Keene. Yeah.
So, you know, it's called the Keene Senior Center, but it's open to anybody who lives and works and plays here in the Monadnock region who's 50 and over. And encouraging you to get involved there, whether it's through these upcoming educational programs, through the fitness programs going on, or if you just want an opportunity to really interact with folks that are in your age group potentially and have some recreational and some social time. Right. Do people meet each other there? And
oh, yes. And many budding romances, let me tell you. I'm always surprised.
I didn't want to ask that,
I'm always surprised, but it does happen. There's no doubt about it. And I just want a little pitch for the singing group. They are a whole lot of fun, and there's no audition to join. So anybody who wants to sing, whether they're ready for a solo or not, is really invited to participate. And they are also looking for people that are willing that play instruments. I mean, we have the one piano player, and he's 90. And we need somebody that would be willing to either pitch in with the piano playing or also play another instrument so that people can sing along.
Well, you know, we have this whole generation has a lot of electric guitars.
Oh, yeah.
So I bet we have some guitarists out there who maybe could join in, whether it's on the folk or on the electric end of things.
Right.
So an opportunity to be involved. Any last thoughts for our audience out there, Peg?
I just think that people need to be truly aware that the senior population is booming in the Monadnock region, in the country. I mean, we are the baby boomers, and all that's been talked about over the years is coming to fruition now. In 2015, there are going to be more baby boomers out there than there had been in many years. And they're going to be 65 and older. By 2000, right now we're at about we're at 11%. Last year we're at 11% of the population. 2015 we're going to be about 14% of the population. In 2030 we're going to be 40% of the population. So there's a big need that's going to continue for many years. And I think we need to be very careful that we make sure we keep those activities and those opportunities open for people who are older and who don't necessarily have the means to do expensive trips, expensive activities.
Great message, Peg. I can't think of a better way to really wrap up the show. I want to thank you for joining us. I want to invite our audience to get involved with the Keene Senior Center and to remember that it's very accessible. You can reach out to Peg by calling the Keene Senior Center, going on Facebook and looking for them, or going to their website. You can also call 211. 211 will direct you to them. You can also contact the United Way at MUW.org. I want to thank you for joining us, and I want to remind you to give, to volunteer, to advocate, to live united.
Thank you.